show. First off, how was everybody's weekend? Easy. How was your weekend, amigo?
Good. Can't complain. It's rainy season down in Florida. So, all of a sudden you'll be walking and just get stuck in a storm. Can't complain too much. Been spending some time inside researching some things, seeing where people are moving in this little bit chaotic of a market at the moment.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. We're going to dig into it. I noticed last week, or I think a lot of people noticed last week, Elon Musk started another new company, X.AI. And the message, the mission statement of the business is to understand the true nature of the universe. And so, you like that, Kix?
So fucking abstract.
But it's pretty good, right? And
no, I mean, it's like badass. So like, imagine you and I trying to like raise money for a company, and like they're like, so what are you guys like trying to do?
Well, that's the thing. Is like it's almost like you have to learn the rules so that you can break them. Because if you and me do that, a VC is going to be like, you got no narrative. But if he does it, VCs are like, take my money.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it seems that they held their first Twitter space. Elon and the team that is held their first Twitter space to explain more details about the company. I guess their vision for XAI is to create a good AGI to understand the universe that is curious and truth-seeking. I do think that this is a direct response, and everyone's saying that this is a direct response to OpenAI. Elon Musk, fun fact, is also a co-founder in OpenAI, but I guess he wanted to like be the CEO, and the board didn't want him 2 years ago, so he's like had a personal grudge against them. It's like typical Elon Musk ego stuff. But I don't know. This seems like it's a lot for Elon to take on, but I guess he's not going to be the CEO of this company, so it probably doesn't matter. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this anything to really focus on, or is this just another like Elon doing Elon stuff example?
Yeah, I think it's another Elon doing Elon stuff example. For me, it's just like, I don't even know, like, are you trying to make revenue with this company? You know what I mean? Or is this like it sounds like a college like research wing. You know what I mean? Would be working on this more than like a private company. Despite I think it's interesting. Maybe XAI saves us from the people whose AI will destroy the world. Like he's it's like good versus evil AI, right? Like his like AI is called like Saint Michael the Archangel, right? And destroys like the Lucifer AI. That's the best scenario I think for this company.
Well, what a plot. I think, our bad. But anyway, what a plot. That's definitely something serious right there. It's actually funny you said is this like for revenue? Because OpenAI, I understand, is not a non-profit, but it's like a capped profit. So they can only profit X amount to make it so that their incentives aren't, I guess, like bad. Like, basically the objective of OpenAI, I think, is to push AI forward. It's not just build an uber successful business.
Yeah, it's kind of like making them a utility company out of the gate. You know how utility companies are like capped on there. They can't be like super exploitative of like, the consumers. Seems pretty similar.
Definitely. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into what we have to discuss today, all things NFTs and crypto market. Just want to take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of today's show. That is Iconic Moments. You heard me talking about Iconic Moments last week. We had Chris and Node on the show from the team last week. We have Chris and Node back today. So we are really excited to talk about this Beyond the Edge Jackson Pollock Studio Collection drop. This is a limited edition print and digital art series celebrating the life and, of course, the groundbreaking technique of the Jackson Pollock. So Iconic worked with the actual Jackson Pollock studio, and the goal of the collection is to offer a unique glimpse at the lost edges of Pollock's masterpieces. So we're going to talk about that. This has to do with how Pollock actually created his drip artworks, laying canvas on the ground. And this is going to give you a chance to actually own a print of a piece of the Pollock studio floor. So all these pieces capture the energy, the color palette, and of course the iconic drip technique that defines Pollock's work. There's only 125 editions available for each print. and digital art release. The collection is super duper exclusive. So if you're an art collector in the space, this is obviously something that you're going to want to pay attention to. All the prints are stamped and hand numbered by the Jackson Pollock studio. So, I mean, you know, what more could you really ask for in a drop like this? They're also big prints. They're 18 by 24 inches. Really, really cool drop. Super excited to talk to Chris, Node, and the team at Iconic about it later on in the show. Very exciting stuff coming out of the NFT space. We're going to get into the mix with the weather report in just a few minutes. Nick, how you doing this morning, amigo?
I'm doing all right. I appreciate you playing the whole first song and not diving in prematurely. But yeah, doing pretty well.
Okay, someone in the comments. So I feel like I really struck a chord last week, I believe it was, with my comments on two specific movies, or two and a half. The two movies that struck the biggest chord seemed to be Inception and Interstellar. People were not happy about my takes. I think Easy is one of the people that actually was pretty triggered.
Yeah, I was on an airplane ride home, and I was going A through Z on the airplane like movie list, and I saw Interstellar and Inception. I just started laughing so hard on my seat.
Easy was getting mad. We did a private podcast.
You just have bad takes. It's fine. I'm cool with it. It's first thing Monday morning. We're already starting off on a bad foot because you want to rehash your negative tone and you're just absolutely god-awful movie takes. It's fine. It's fine.
I watched it.
Oh, go ahead, Nick. Go ahead. No, please, Nick.
We're going back through 90s movies right now.
Very nice.
So
Very nice.
My girlfriend moved here after the 90s.
So she missed a bunch.
Yeah, I imported her here, actually, for those in the comments that are wondering. And so in terms of movies, yeah, she missed a bunch of them. And I was like, you know what, we can go back. And I just literally Googled, I was like, top 90s movies. And I was like, wow, there's like a lot of great ones in there.
Oh, yeah.
So we watched, I was going to watch Magnolia, but I was like, hey, this one is like pretty dark to start with. Yeah. And so I was like, so we watched Good Will Hunting. And
a lot easier to digest. Dude, I'm a P.T. Anderson fanboy, and I'm telling you, don't show her Magnolia, probably ever, because she's just going to be like, that was too long.
Well, that was the other thing. So we watched it in the building has like a theater, and you have a limited amount of time to watch. So we went down to the theater, and I was like, look, I bought Magnolia, which, by the way, to buy it on iTunes is $5, which
pretty
means
cheap.
Yeah, no one's buying it.
Yeah,
and then and so now I have it available for future consumption. She saw the Tom Cruise monologue there, and because I was looking through like classic like snippets of different, like Glenn Ross is actually
that's a really good one.
That's the 90s movie. So we're gonna watch that one as well. It was also interesting. Rolling Stone has like a their version of the 90s movie rankings, and it's completely different than like I think what would be like the mass appeal version of it. So there's ones in there that are just like I've never even heard of. Like there's ones that I just did not stand out to me. I'm sure like you may have been familiar with whatever I can't even tell you what the names of those movies were, but just look up Rolling Stone top 90s movies. Their number one ranking is like different than what I think, you know, like the popularized version of it.
Is it this top 100 list?
I think it is. The other thing that stands out to me, which would not probably go in people's top 100, but went in my own personal top 100, was The Fugitive with Harrison Ford.
Love that film. That is such a great film. But you know, the sad thing of like missing the 90s and films is that, yes, you have films like Magnolia that stand the test of time, but there are a lot of films that came out at that time which were considered incredible or scary. But if you watched it now, you'd feel like it's a waste of your time. And what I'm thinking about is Jurassic Park. When that first came out, or actually, and I was also thinking about Harry Potter, but Harry Potter wasn't in the 90s. But when like those types of films first come out, the very first one, you're on the edge of your seat and you're wondering like, how can the dinosaur open the handle, get into the kitchen? And how are those kids going to like run around the corner? But watching that now, that has no thrill, no tense, no drama. And it's a pity she's going to miss, I think, a lot of those films, which aren't worth watching now, but were like epic in the 90s.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that's
was
a hot
actually-
take signal. Jurassic Park's pretty good. Go ahead, Kicks.
Don't
tried,
come at me, Gio. I'll take a plane to New York.
I thought he was talking about watching Butterfly Effect with his girlfriend. I got Magnolia and Butterfly Effect confused, and I was like, "That's just a terrible fucking movie to watch with like a girlfriend that you've been
Dude,
dating."
Butterfly Effect slaps though. Ashton Kutcher's best piece of work.
That's piece of work, but yeah, you don't want like there's some weird fucking scenes in
Ashton
there where like, if you guys
Kutcher.
haven't been through certain talks.
That's who's
together-
in it, Nick.
does he have any great pieces of work? I don't know.
That-
Like,
Butterfly Effect,
literally that
hard
one.
stop.
That's like the best
Oh,
ones.
Stoner Cats,
pranked.
top animation.
I'm looking at this list of the top 100 90s movies, and Nick, I know exactly what you meant because I feel like this is a combination of actual top 100 90s movies and random snooty stuff.
You're like,
It's-
what?
So number one is Goodfellas. Obviously, I can get behind
that's
that.
a great one, but I don't know if that's number one. Like, is Goodfellas number one in the
To-
90s? Pulp
to me,
Fiction
that's
to me
okay.
is maybe
Oh, sure.
higher than is at least higher than that.
What
And
about
I-
Fifth Element? She'd like Fifth Element. 'Cause,
That's
like,
one
you know,
that's ranked in the top 100
Yeah.
movies of the 90s.
someone
Silence
in
of
the
the
comments
Lambs.
said that. Yeah, like Wookie Inc. said that.
There were some in there that that are classics that I hadn't seen. Like, I hadn't seen all of what I considered to be like the top 100, but that like other people. Here's one that I hadn't watched, which is on Rolling Stone, unsurprisingly, was Train Spotting. Train Spotting, everyone I remember all my friends in high school were like talking about Train Spotting like it's the best movie ever, but it felt like one that like was way more relevant to like it. Like, did you see Kids? Like,
Yeah,
Kids,
Harmony
Love
Korine.
that movie.
but that's another one that like it was shocking to a middle class kid in suburbia, basically, to see a New York kid grow up. And I think that was kind of the compelling aspect of a lot of movies at that point in time. Like Hackers, even for me, in addition
that's
to
a great
having a
one,
movie
dude.
where people were talking about hacking computers, the big thing about that was that you had kids in New York that were
Yeah.
like that were rollerblading into a nightclub, and you're like,
Yeah.
what, with the giant video game? And you're like, where does this place exist? Like,
Oh, it
this
was
is
awesome. I recently saw that movie, but I still think you and your girlfriend would love The Fifth Element. You kind of remind me of Corbin Dallas with hair, and she kind of reminds me of Lilu. So I think it'd be an awesome movie to watch together.
Well, the inner nerd of Kicks coming out just loves The Fifth Element. Real quick, I'm looking at this list, Nick. No, I mean, it is a good movie, obviously, but like, this is what's wrong with this list
it's
is
like
number
an international one. What was it?
real quick, number 21 is didn't mean to do that. Number 21 is number 21 is Barton Fink, which is an art house movie by the Coen brothers. I've seen it. It's John Turturro. Don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but I'm like, have you ever heard of The Big Lebowski? That's a pretty well-known Coen brothers movie. Where's
it's
this
on the
one?
list? It's on the list, but it's like
It's not as high
37
as
or
Barton
something.
Fink. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Like what? I don't really understand. But anyway, the reason I even brought this up is I went to the movies yesterday. I saw a movie called Joyride, which is, I mean, look, you're gonna laugh if you see that movie. There's no way you're not gonna. Oh, Dude, Where's My Car is actually the best film by Ashton Kutcher for sure.
Dude,
Um,
there's also what would be the same one where the guys have the time machine and
Bill and Ted's Excellent
Bill and
Adventure.
Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's not going to go on the 100 best films of the 90s, but it's
That
like
might be the 80s.
is it maybe 89.
It's 89. It's 89, boy.
Wow. So
And I think
you
my
weren't even
Wi-Fi is
born.
messed up or something. I was not born yet in 1989. But anyway, I went to the movies this weekend, and then we'll get to the weather report. I went to the movies this weekend, saw a trailer for Oppenheimer. It looks good.
Yeah, it does.
So he's not doing time travel in this one, so I can get behind him. He's like, yeah, I'll save the time travel stuff for the next movie. And forgive me if I'm speaking over anyone. I think my Wi-Fi is messed up. Anyway, we can go over to Signal for the weather report. Signal, please take it away.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Before, you did the Jackson Pollock sponsor thing, and it reminded me of like years ago when I was a student. I was walking home, and this is in London where people always put stuff on the street, and you can just take it because it's going to be rubbish anyway. And it happened that the woman down my road was a painter, and she put outside on this table her painting table, and it was covered like Pollock style, like all her years of work on this table. I was a little bit drunk, and I was like, "Oh, that's a nice table." So somehow I managed to lift what was actually a pretty heavy table, but you know, when you're drunk, you have superpowers. So I managed to lift this table with me, and I walked with it for 2 blocks. This table I had for like 10 years before I gave it away. And every time someone came into my house, they were like, "Where did you get that table from?" And I was like, "It's from the painter down the road who used to just splat stuff and do her work." So like the Pollock sponsor, like the Pollock drop, it just reminded me of that, and how much how cool it is when it's actually hanging on your walls. Anyway,
Hold on.
guys,
So the sponsor tangent involves Signal stealing a table off the street from an artist while she's
real
drunk.
artist.
Stealing.
And well, no, she kept the table.
No, I didn't steal it. The people put trash out on the table on the street for anyone to take. And I was walking home at like, post midnight, super powered, and then took the table. So the table had a new home, and it was
I thought you took it from her actual table, and you like roll up to this woman, and you're like, "I'll take that now," and you just bring it home. All right.
No, that was another time, but story for another time, guys. Anyway, let's get into the weather report. Lots of interesting stuff happening over the weekend. Today, Monday, the 17th of July, we are mid deep into summer. Volume, total market coming in at 15.8 million, pretty meager, with Blur taking the majority of around 11 million, while OpenSea down at around 2.5 million, not looking so great over there. Onto leaders, pretty stable across most of the collections. You got Apes at 33.1, Mutants just hanging around that 6.2, while Punk's just sub of 50 at 49.8, but we saw some big sales over the weekend. D-Guards there around 8.8, Azuki just hanging out at 6, not quite going back up to those double-digit numbers we had. And Captain's looking pretty good at 6.6. That's been one of the biggest movers of the weekend, while Pudgy's stable at 3.7. Over the weekend, the biggest news, well, Jack Butcher made an OPEPN open edition called Thread Edition. That was in honor of Thread Guy. A whole backstory to this, but the honorary OPEPN ended up being in his mutant ape colors. The open edition, actually more than 24,000 were minted at $2 each, with all of those proceeds going to Thread Guy for the amount of content and value he's added to the space. Thread Guy also ended up changing his PFP to that honorary OPEPN. Over in Pudgy Land, well, Pudgy Penguins introduced Pudgy Swap. It's a tool that allows for over-the-counter Pudgy trades. This is going to be good for everyone in the Pudgy ecosystem, so you can avoid those malicious links. And the Pudgy CEO as well, Luca, he shared that the toy sales so far have generated around 5 million in revenue. Over in Cryptoland, BlackRock CEO Larry Link, he was bullish, very bullish on Friday, after he declared that he is seeing increasing demand for crypto coming from gold investors after seeing how much the dollar has depreciated over the past 2 months. He says that interest in crypto is broad-based and worldwide, so he's seeing a bright future for crypto and Bitcoin. And lastly, Twitter influencer Beanie sold 16 CryptoPunks for $3.5 million, including 5 hoodies and an alien. If you're back in the space in 2021, you would remember that Beanie, big trader of buyer and trader of punks. This is now the second PFP to sell for over $1 million in the past week. Last week, we had that Golden Ape sale. And then over in crypto, you got BTC at 30K, ETH at 1900. Solana touched 28 on the weekend, a bit down at 26 right now, and Ape at 1.9. So a little bit of a moon over the weekend, but also seeing a bit of a pullback, but things pretty good for midsummer. Back to you, folks.
Thank you for another fantastic weather report, Signal. Some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest, which is the daily newsletter published at thenifty.com. If you have an account at thenifty.com, you're able to access the free NFTs that we give away almost every day. You will need to have an account there to claim today's free NFT. So go to thenifty.com, make an account. Pudgy Penguins announced that proposal number 325 has passed, and 998 Pudgy Penguin physical collectibles with Nouns glasses will be created and sold for $299 each, with a launch date of December 8th, 2023. I think when we looked at the votes last week, it did look like there was going to be a landslide victory. So cool to see this collaboration happen. Probably is going to be a pretty cool toy. $299 each, less than 1,000 of them. Very cool stuff. OpenSea teased an upcoming announcement sharing a handshake visual and quickly shut down speculation by sharing that it was not a token airdrop for users. It seems like users are obsessed with a token airdrop from OpenSea, but they're just not going to get one. Warner Brothers has partnered with Illuvio to release the superhero movie The Flash as an NFT, offering 2 editions, a $35 mystery edition and a $100 premium edition, both featuring exclusive content and enhanced user interfaces for an immersive fan experience. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, the whole movie is going to be an NFT. I don't know. That seems pretty cool. Definitely interesting. Those are your updates from the Nifty Daily Digest.
Pio, you just froze.
Give him a
was-
sec,
that
man.
was
He's thinking. Give him a sec.
He's
okay?
deep in thought.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just weird that my internet is just like, it works every day, but not today. So anyway, I will move on. I'll just throw the mic to somebody else if my internet is not working. So Nick, please take it away.
Well, there was one thing I was going to say here, which is the Solana price action. The way that the weekly closed is
Very nice.
very nice. It's in an interesting place because Bitcoin did not manage to close the weekly in a it's actually not higher. We went on that huge run last week where based on the news around Ripple XRP, but unfortunately, Kicks, we've moved on from that conversation, so we won't be discussing your call on that. But no, I'm just kidding. But what was interesting, Bitcoin gave back all of those gains where it was almost up to 32K. And instead, the weekly has pulled back and was not able to close even above where the main line is for me is 30,300, which means that the overall sort of crypto market is not in a bull position at this point in time. But Solana has a strong close where it is. And so I don't know if it's resetting where its price level is. But the way that it's looking is that we could actually be around the new bottom or something like that. I'd give it another week just to see it, just to confirm. But
yeah,
it looks pretty strong here, and I think maybe this lull that Solana was in following the security news back at it looks like the last drop was at the end of October. And then when was the security thing? That was in that was the first week of June.
Yeah, that's when Polygon puked. When most of these coins puked.
Well, Polygon still is looking. I don't know about Polygon, but Solana is looking quite strong here, which is really.
I think out of all of the ones that got labeled as a security, Solana is standard deviations ahead of everyone else in terms of it didn't even make a retracement. It made new highs that previous to that news event.
The other thing that's interesting, which I brought up last week, and this is just crypto price action here. Sure. But the other one that I think is interesting is ApeCoin has really just gotten punished and has been kind of a nothing burger for a period of time here. There was a theory amongst a lot of the bulls that heavy metal would be a solid pump because of all of the demand for the coin, and it's had no impact whatsoever. I don't know what's the catalyst for this space, or if instead it's really at this point just an overall reflection of the NFT market, and that it is the index. And that I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. And
it's not even the index because it has so much inflation that you can't even hold it spot to mirror it as an NFT index. You'd be better off doing that with the Blur token.
Interesting. Yeah, Blur I guess would be a valid one to use. I haven't been, so I don't have on my charts the Blur token price, but that actually would be a good one to track. I feel like the average person, though, if they're thinking about it, I mean, at this point, the average person does not want to buy NFTs no matter what it is. So it doesn't really make a difference.
Look at the market, dude. It's so anemic, man. It's like people on an island fighting over the last coconut. That's what it feels like right now. The coin I've been looking at is Arbitrum. So I bought a good stack of Arbitrum down at 114, 113, and that's on a nice run right now.
I like Arbitrum and Optimism. OP.
Yeah. I don't see, for me, the problem with Optimism is I haven't heard a single thing being built there. That's interesting.
Hey, if the chart looks good, I'm all here for it.
I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. But just with Arbitrum, I just see a lot of people on Arbitrum or moving to like Arbitrum Nova, their new like L3 over there and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, both charts look really good. I just like haven't heard of someone being like, yo, dude, you got to get on Optimism and check out these games.
You know,
What would be, sorry, what would be the bull case for being in Arbitrum or Optimism over Solana right now, which is going through like a strong price discovery phase?
Because both like just owning. Great question. I don't think there's really any difference. I mean, if anything, you could say that maybe Solana has a stronger narrative because Solana is an L1, right? So it's like competing against Ethereum and like has its own technology and use cases. Like Arbitrum and Optimism are like the L2, so they're like fighting over the same share of the pie, and that share of the pie is defined by Ethereum. So like Solana definitely, I feel like, has more like for Arbitrum and Optimism and Arbitrum, like you wouldn't really see them realistically going past a Polygon in terms of market cap, right? Like that's where like the market's really set like the best like things built on top of Ethereum. Whereas like Solana has way more potential upside.
Signal. The only reason is if you want to degen into something that's more of a flyer call where suddenly like there's going to be some positive news catalyst. There's more theoretical upside in something that has, a 12 billion market cap versus a one that has a $10 billion. Well, actually, sorry. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like Solana right now is already number 8 at 10.9 billion, tied with basically Cardano. What's interesting to me is where XRP is price action is pretty ludicrous.
I would short that.
Like I'm not interested in touching XRP as the 4th strongest currency. The biggest thing is really about where the narrative is going to be, where you think like people come in, on the next bull run and buy some stuff.
Not on XRP, guarantee that.
Yeah, and like there's not going to be people, building projects on there. That said, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to tell. Last bull run, there were so many YouTubers that were just pumping any sort of arbitrary token and saying this is the next one that you got to pay attention to, and they're looking. They're down in the trenches looking at token, 100 to 500 to be like, oh, here's where some
and Nick,
opportunity
is Solana so fast because they're a fake blockchain, like they're not real. It's like
okay.
It
is actually quite technically challenging to understand. I was reading the documentation. I've been coding with it. Total aside, if you're on our site and you have Bodagos, you can now connect a ledger to the site. I pushed that out this weekend, and a whopping 27 people have done so far. The vocal minority, where I'm like banging my head against the desk trying to figure out why the hell this damn thing won't work. And shout out to the 30 people that care about this new feature that we roll. Someone was like, when are you rolling out wallet login? And I'm like, give me a good reason why that even matters. And someone was like, well, the Web3 people love wallet logins. And I'm like, but everybody else in the world doesn't give a shit about that. I'm really sorry. Like that, it doesn't matter.
And it's not like you're making them have an @Gmail. They can set up a fake email address. Like if they understand decentralized technology, they can set up a fake email address.
And they were also like, how am I going to remember my password? And I was like, hold on, you don't have like a password manager? Like you can get one for free. What kind of
passwords are you coming up with? You can't even use your fucking brain to remember them. I use my fucking brain to remember my passwords. Like,
okay, so we know you're insecure, but
I guarantee mine's just as secure as yours, dude. I'm just fucking smart, dude. I know my speech in my brain.
Is every password different?
Yes, dude. I'm not an idiot, dude. I played RuneScape when I was 12. Never got hacked.
Okay. Well, anyways, just give us one of your passwords. Like, I want to hear how secure it is.
Yeah, dude. You just understand the patterns.
Is it God?
Anyway, well, Nick, I mean, it's good to hear that you've pushed out more updates. I do think it's hilarious that people.
That's the other thing, the password login as well. That's the other thing. So if people that were having struggles on mobile, which is literally 60 or 70% of people that are claiming NFTs on the site do so on a mobile device. And it's a really poor experience on mobile. So we launched a password on there. That was the other feature this weekend. So check it out. sign up if you're on our site, the nifty.com. You can just go to the settings area and add a password. There's now a button there that says.
And guess what? I'd use a new password and I wouldn't forget it, dude.
Well, here's the cool thing. If you do forget it, I don't even have like forgot password. What you do is you just log in normally, click the link, and then you go to the settings area. So dude, I'm out, or we're out innovating on user experience to make it just as frictionless as possible.
Are you salting those passwords, by the way?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, I'm just checking. See, like people think I'm not smart, but I even know what that means, you know?
Okay. Okay.
How are they going to remember the passwords? Anyway, we got Jack Butcher making waves this weekend. Clemente labeled him as winner of the weekend after Bored Elon, friend of the show and former sponsor, and Pudgy Penguins, Luca Nets, friend of the show, gave Thread Guy luxurious offers. Clemente, interesting choice of words, luxurious offers, big offers to change his profile picture to either rep O'Peppin or rep a Pudgy Rod. Luca offered apparently a revenue share guaranteed $100,000. Thread Guy ended up changing his profile picture to a Thread Guy themed O'Peppin, and Jack Butcher subsequently announced an open edition for said NFT, $2 each on the, I want to say, Zora network, Zora. With all proceeds going to Thread Guy.
It's not the Zora network. It just launched on there, but I think it's an Ethereum-based PFP.
Gotcha. Okay. I know it's an ERC 1155. Proceeds going to Thread Guy, over $54,000 raised at the time that Clemente wrote this. So not a bad haul for Thread Guy there. Seeing it play out, Beeple also made an everyday of the open edition.
That's
very
cool.
Very cool stuff.
I like how the O'Peppin looks in that.
Very cool stuff for people to make an open edition about it. Over the weekend, O'Peppin saw a subsequent 30% rise in floor price to 0.7 Ethereum. I personally bought 5 of the Thread edition, or Thread edition as they are calling it, of the CRC 1155. But yeah, I mean, before we move on, any commentary on this?
Well, I want a quick question for you guys. Okay, so the floor price moved from 0.46 to 0.75. So it's like almost a 40% move. Quick pop quiz. All of you guys just give me a number. How many new holders did they add?
Wait, sorry, O'Peppin?
Yeah.
They probably lost 100.
It's not a bad guess, but no. Yeah.
Flat? Was it flat?
Close. Easy, Sig. You're muted. Easy,
You're muted,
Sig. You look like
Easy.
an idiot.
You told me the answer already.
Okay.
So I'll say it. I'm down to ruin the game.
Yeah, Signal go and then you go.
No,
Here,
I
everybody
was
guess
like
a random
100.
number.
I was going to say like 100.
10.
So I don't know why we called Jack Butcher the winner of this weekend. Thread Guy is the winner of this weekend. Like, what? I don't understand. How did this get categorized so wrong here? That like Thread Guy made $40,000
more.
Had a whole space associated with his PFP change
And a Beeple artwork made.
The format of this content is quite interesting. Dude, I can't like he's definitely Thread Guy is winning when it comes to the hangout spaces sort of thing.
Yeah, he outplayed Ape Council there for sure.
Well, yeah, and I also just think like, yeah, that is true. That is true.
He's like, you didn't give me a $250,000. Fuck you, dude. Here's 50K in a week.
Well, I mean, Jack is the winner here.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Keith. I would say like Jack is the winner here because you kind of so Thread Guy voluntarily changed his PFP to an O'Peppin, right? And the way the story played out with the offers coming in, he's one of those people who's kind of signaled to the market like, I can't be bought to change my PFP. So the only way to do it was to voluntarily do it. And then Jack did that sort of honorary one for him. And it's kind of like, how do you get really strong content creators to have your PFP without giving them money? There was no monetary exchange before that open edition went out. So Jack is the winner here because he sniped one of the biggest content creators in the space voluntarily for free. And then obviously it paid out that Good Karma and Thread Guy got the open edition funds. So that's how Jack's a winner from a marketing perspective. He just like basically schooled the space of like how to win great content creators for free, but also give them their dues, but also go on to have this butterfly effect where Beeple is even tweeting about it. So
and it was really bored Elon Musk, masterful marketer, because he owns like 750 of these things, and he seeded this whole thing. Like, I forget how it started, but like he hit up Thread Guy, and he was like,
he offered him a 001 OPEP, the first one, in exchange for the mutant ape, and said, I have to keep the ape for a year. You have to keep the OPEP for 3 months or something like that. And then he adjusted it again and said, all right, let me make the deal even sweeter. I'll give you the 001 OPEP and give you your mutant ape back after a year. So in turn, it was basically like, I'll just give you this for free.
So I just want to acknowledge that Signal was throwing flowers towards Clemente there. And I'd like to just take those flowers and just throw them on the ground and stomp on them. Okay.
Clemente. Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Nick, a commenter on the YouTube stream just said Nick's favorite segment, shit on Clemente. Well, Nick, go ahead, please continue.
Did Clemente on Wednesday make us do a contest of what we thought was going to move the best? Did I pick up Pepins?
No, you picked Pixelmon.
Okay, shit. I drank a lot of Zazarax on Thursday, so my brain doesn't remember Wednesday. So
Zazarax. What is Zazarax?
It's absinthe and whiskey mixed together. It's a famous New Orleans drink.
Oh, okay.
Nick, kind of weird you don't know that. Like, it's pretty obvious.
Kix clearly Kix is a southerner over here, just drinking.
I went down with old country.
Dude, you're also drinking on some scissor. But anyways, bottom line is, yeah, I feel like Thread Guy's the big winner from a revenue standpoint, but you are correct that Jack Butcher properly navigated this space to really up his also cultural relevance within the ecosystem. So, I mean, great job to all.
Incredibly impressive from Jack Butcher. It's also very cool to see how he and others have been interpreting the OPEPin artwork based on people's profile pictures. I saw some notable ones. Farouk right now is sporting a Farouk style OPEPin. I saw NFT Statistics, I believe, post an interpretation of his profile picture with an OPEPin. Saw a lot of Bodago's holders actually making Bodago style OPEPin. So it's very cool to see that stuff well executed. Yeah, Clemente has Farouk's pulled up on the YouTube stream. Well executed by Jack Butcher. Very impressive.
It's super well executed. I know. Like, okay, I'm a holder, but this is cooking slowly. This is cooking so slowly. I'm just like, give it another 6 months. Like, I don't know. It's got that. You know what? I'm not going to talk about it because I'm a holder and I'm biased. But whatever. This was navigated beautifully, and Jack, Bo, Thread Guy, Cash.
Great name too, Jack Butcher. Like, it's impossible not to be successful in life. You know what I mean? Unless you got like a meth addiction or something. Like, other than that, like, you're gonna make moves.
Nice. We got an upcoming mint today in the NFT space. Garbage Friends by they're calling themselves Typical Friends now, the team behind Invisible Friends. I was under the impression it was Random Character Collective. Is this a sub team under Random Character Collective? That's easy.
I think it is a sub team. Typical Friends, which is the Invisible Friends, Garbage Friends. I think it's going to be this whole conglomerate of these figure-like moving characters.
Okay. 5,300 supply. Phase 1 mint starts today in 18 minutes. It seems 0.05 ETH mint price. If that sells out, which I'm assuming it probably will, it sounds like that's going to be a $500,000 haul from the folks over at Typical Friends Random Character Collective. Apparently you got token gated to Clemente. I don't know if you can fill me in on this. I can't. Yeah, go ahead, Clemente.
Yeah, so the phase 1 is basically token gated to the 2D Invisible Friends, the limited designer editions, and the mystery drop holders. So they have like 5 or 6 different phases. And then phase 4, basically, which starts on Wednesday, they're going to open up another 1,100 supply that's going to come at a 0.1 ETH mint price. So they're going to be bumping that up on Wednesday. But from now and until then, that's only closed off to like specific Invisible Friends holders and like other additions that they've done.
Well, I'm going to be very interested to see how this does on the secondary. I think it'll be an interesting indicator for
And why
the
are we
NFT
buying
space.
this?
Why are we or aren't we?
Is it a profile pic? Is it 3D?
It's the same thing as Invisible Friends,
Okay,
like
cool.
kind of, but like a different. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, just like a different art style,
More
but
trashy.
I mean, well, literally, it's garbage friends. So yeah, I'll be paying attention to this to see how this does, because it is a very interesting time in the NFT market right now, especially on Ethereum for that matter. So it'll be fascinating to see what the secondary looks like for this. Nick, go ahead.
They've been working on this for so long. This has been a work in progress for, it almost feels like if it hasn't been a year, it feels like it's been a year that this thing's been going on. And I'm not sure like what exactly is going on over there in terms of rolling this out. The other thing, which is really tough, someone tweeted something this weekend about like PFPs and like the different meme, and I have found that like there is a willingness to sort of change like that one's PFP, as iconic as it is, that there is more of a willingness for people to change. And I think what was like one of the big things that I saw was there were a lot of people that changed their PFP to this Opepin thread guy addition this weekend, losing their verification status. That's like a pretty big statement when people are willing to do that. I mean, we've had obviously, since we launched a PFP, there's been people who've done that as well, which we're like super grateful for. But I think that like it feels like people are more willing to just kind of accept that. And I don't know if it's like, do you think there's an overall diminishing of the value of the PFP, like how important it is pertaining to the brand, if that makes sense? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like completely down a weird tangent here, but anywho.
Yeah,
do you not want a response?
I've switched my profile picture a lot. I really don't think.
Well, we know that you've been doing that since the beginning, and you have no brand.
Exactly. Well, no, I just don't think it really affects. It affects as much as people think. In the long term. In the short term, there's like visual, it's like hard to like make that connection between like someone and their profile pic. So like it definitely affects you on like the short term, but like the long term, I don't think it's a big impact at all. Also, if you like switch to something and like switch back in a couple of days, I don't think that makes like any impact on your brand. So like if you want to support Jack Butcher, right, or Thread Guy in this new thing that they're doing, like switching to that for like 3 days and then switching back to like your historically known brand image, I don't think has like any impact at all. What I think is really undeniably stupid is that you lose Twitter Blue for changing your profile pic. I mean, that's just one of the dumbest things ever. And I'm pretty sure that Elon will probably reverse that arbitrarily one day.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it shakes out. I think that if I was going to weigh in on this, I think it depends on what your main, job is. If your job is one that's dependent on written Twitter posts, then profile picture is super duper important. If your job is a YouTube podcaster, for example, different story. So yeah, I think that it's obviously impactful, but it does depend on what your job actually is. And there's a significant percentage of this space where written Twitter posts are the single most important action that a person can take. And so for the written Twitter post first crowd, profile picture is of paramount importance. Clemente, you were going to add something?
Yeah, I have a quick question for Nick and anyone else that's in the panel. Do you feel like there's going to be a trend in the future of kind of what we saw play out with Jack Butcher and Thread Guy, where specific projects might pay out a certain amount of money towards a popular content creator to rep a PFP for a certain period of time?
I mean, obviously, like
it just happened.
I think that's I don't think this is the first time that's happened. I was even thinking about that this weekend. Okay, I don't know if this is a old wives' tale. Well, it definitely isn't. But does anybody know how like MySpace started going viral?
Yeah, Fred Durst.
Soldier Boy.
Tell
No.
us, Papa.
So apparently, and this is what the narrative used to be, was they basically got a bunch of hot women onto the platform. Was the approach to
Not true, dude. I was 12 years old.
okay, well,
I
you were
wasn't
late
getting
to
on
the
there, like,
platform.
someone was like, dude, there's some hot chicks on MySpace.
Were you the first? Were you the first person on MySpace?
I was fucking early for sure.
Okay, so anyways, were you there before music?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so anyways, the bottom line is the story is that they essentially seeded it by getting certain people on the platform. If you look at like Instagram and some of these other places, I feel like those influencers are like the ones that make the most are like attractive influencers who are posting provocative photos of themselves or actually making something truly unique. Like, for example, I saw this like baker in Paris, actually, who has this like huge Instagram where he just makes like ridiculous stuff. And he's just like raw talent, essentially, that shows up.
One that Emily in Paris dated?
So I don't know about Emily in Paris having participated with this, but the bottom line is the short answer is yes. If you can get people pictures that are compelling, influencers that to make changes, to drive adoption, the answer is yes. And I think that's an old playbook, which is on Instagram as well, which is influencers. I mean, that's like the influencer game. So yeah, if you could get someone to change their profile picture, which really is only a Twitter thing, like I don't know, like I don't see any other like Instagram.
I don't know, Nick. Blue Woods brings up a good point. Tom never changed his PFP on MySpace.
Well, there you go.
I think the future, I was thinking about it over the weekend too. I think a significant future for content in the space that we're in is going to be Twitch. And I think it's going to be like people playing other side on Twitch. And I do think profile picture comes into play there. But yeah, I've been thinking about it more and more. And I'm like, yeah, people are going to be playing as long as other side's like a pretty good game. Well, there's just going to be more Web3 games anyway. We've had previous sponsors. Easy knows the ins and outs of all the kind of blockchain based games. When there's a big popular game, if somebody from our space, and in that situation, people from our space are going to have to compete against just traditional Twitch gamers. And actually the traditional Twitch gamers might just eat the people from our space's lunch on that, because who cares if it's a blockchain game or not? You probably don't have that much of an advantage being from like crypto Twitter when it comes to being a Twitch streamer for a Web3 game. So I think if people want to position themselves properly for that, they should start, experimenting with Twitch streaming now. Real quick, I want to just pause for a moment to talk a bit about the sponsor of today's show, Iconic Moments. You heard us talking with the team and about the team last week. Iconic Moments is offering a crazy opportunity, in my opinion, to add a straight up masterpiece to your collection with the Beyond the Edge release from the official Jackson Pollock Studio collection. So yes, you heard that correctly. Jackson Pollock, like the Jackson Pollock. This is up in partnership with the Jackson Pollock Studio, and it's designed to showcase, really the if you're familiar with film editing, what was left on the cutting room floor, so to speak, because Jackson Pollock used to lay his canvases down on the floor and use paint brushes and sticks and other tools to splatter paint on the canvas with his iconic drip technique. Obviously there was paint that made its way onto the floor. So you have an opportunity to own both the digital and physical. So 425 physical prints and 425 matching digital NFTs. Very exclusive release. The physical prints are museum quality, hand numbered and stamped with authenticity. Your collection includes a physical print mailed directly to you, along with a corresponding digital NFT, so that you can, really just have the full spectrum of showcasing ability for the work. So stay tuned until the end of the show to get the password for today's free NFT, which is actually going to be a chance for you to enter to win a Jackson Pollock NFT in physical print. This is maybe, in my opinion, the coolest giveaway we've ever had on this show.
That's really cool.
I don't know what would be cooler than this. This is really cool. I want to win this, but I can't, ladies and gentlemen, because that's not how it works. So you can win it. This is really, really cool stuff. So stick around till the end of the show and mint the free NFT for a chance to win. I mean, this is awesome.
And real quick, to Clemente's question about projects paying companies or projects paying people to rock a profile pic project. There was one company that did this in the 2021 bull run, and it made them one of the biggest NFT companies of all time.
Was it who changed the profile picture that had a massive impact in 2021?
This was a Bored Ape Yacht Club through.
Yeah, they got Signal knows. They
concierge.
paid all the celebrities
Through that special concierge service, so they paid all the celebrities, and then it came back. It came out, and now it's coming full circle in terms of how legal that was.
Yep. But that was the biggest marketing play of 2021. It was, remember, it was, oh shit, like this celebrity, this rapper, this person rocking it. That's an effective strategy.
Paris Hilton, Jimmy Fallon, Eminem, Justin Bieber. I mean, they really got the top of the heap individuals
straight to the top. I mean, that's as good as you can basically. Are there any greater Americans in this world? You know, basically, when I think of like some of the best Americans around, first up comes Paris Hilton. You know, she's
Lil
like,
Baby also bought a mutant ape. I don't know how we have not acknowledged
Lil Baby.
Definitely
Great American icon.
I fucking love Lil Baby, dude. When you're really trying to get that like max bench, dude, listen to Lil Baby.
I did notice that Kix posted a shirtless picture of himself. It didn't go quite as viral as Mr. Beast's underwear post. Nick?
I'd be honest, any of these people running for president would be better picks than literally anybody on any ticket at this point in time. I'm trying to figure out, unrelated to that, does nobody want to be president? Is that the situation that we're dealing with in America right now?
Nick, would you want to be president?
Are you talking about because RFK had a really spot-on take over the weekend?
It's just like,
you see the aging that they go to, and then you learn all these secrets and you can't tell anyone, and you don't like, it doesn't seem fun, man. There's a lot of more fun jobs.
It just seems like a complete train wreck of.
Sometimes you get shot. Like, it's not a fun job.
Well, maybe we figure it out at some point, but we should just vote for the celebrities and make like a reality TV show of it. But and just like actually legit. I understand that we did that with Trump was the first quote reality TV president, but we weren't watching reality TV. Instead, we were watching depressing news, and I think it would be interesting.
It's better just reality TV, like do the interviews. Like it's just like I totally won that debate. Like just looking at the camera, I like it. I think you're onto something.
I think the reason why Nick's saying that is I think that he's working for a company that is slowly positioning the situation as a future presidential candidate.
Well, there you go. That would be a good option. But yeah, I like Pio's thought where after the debate, there's just commentary and everyone's like, I clearly won that. And then they go to a party afterwards and they get like too hammered. One person like jumps in the pool naked. There's like a whole situation. It's basically like Real Housewives meets like geopolitics basically. And I think that I think that there's an opportunity to like make that happen. And they just like laugh at politicians like that are like elsewhere in the world, be like, you guys take this way too seriously.
I dig it, man. I think it's on point. We got Notarino on the show. Node, look, you bring a smile to my face when you pull up. You look like Eminem right now. You're rocking an Eminem type hat. You got some sick, like really dope artwork in the back. It looks like you're in a very cool space. What's going on, Nodester?
Just woke up. Got the hat on to cover the bags over my eyes.
That microphone of yours sounds like it's been drinking some coffee. That's a loud mic right there, Node. Might want to play with those levels a little bit.
Shall we turn that down just a touch?
Very nice. Sultry voice from Node. No, we got a few minutes before we dive into today's sponsored spot with Iconic Moments about the Jackson Pollock drop and the subsequent giveaway, which is very, like I said, very exciting stuff. But what's going on the art side of the NFT space, Node? Where's the liquidity at? I bought 2 art NFTs. I have 2 fine art NFTs right now from a very talented artist. His name is Elon Derek. I'm wondering where at this point is the liquidity on the fine art side? I saw some art block sales reported by NFT Statistics this morning. Is that where the action is?
There's not a lot. There's really not a lot of liquidity anywhere. So yeah, if there is, it's
Thanks,
gonna be-
Note.
What? What?
No, I'm just like, you're just like, really, no one's buying these things.
Well, I'm just saying there's not a lot of liquidity. It's a slow time in the art market, which is fine. We're still getting big sales. We're still getting large sales. Elon Derek, awesome. I actually sold one of his pieces a few weeks ago because I minted it really low. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the art market, it's pretty slow. I'm trying to stick to the classic art block stuff, right? So my favorite memories of Qilin, I picked
You
up
have a
one
couple
those.
of them, right?
I have 3 now.
Woo!
I picked up another one a few weeks ago on a collection offer. So now's a great time if you have conviction in any like particular set to be throwing out, collection offers and whatnot, because you can get some really good deals if you can wait, a good amount of time. So that's what I've been doing, just kind of bidding on things that I believe in and kind of taking it from there. But yeah, I mean, there's the most beautiful collection of all time. You're looking at it right there. Memories of Qilin.
It's really cool stuff, man. Do you have any physical prints of this stuff in your house yet?
No, I need the bull market to come back so I can afford it.
And who is Qilin, just for like an ignorant person from an ignorant?
No, well, I think it's actually her. I can't remember. It might actually be her grandma or something like.
Yeah, see,
like,
there's a story behind it.
Yeah, there is a story behind it.
Nick's making fun of me.
Emily Z is the artist. She's awesome. Yeah,
Where
we
did
don't think too
Qilin
deeply.
grow up?
We just like the art, dude.
I'm just trying to give myself more knowledge.
Yeah, that's good. I should have come more prepared to remember what that even meant. I just have fallen in love with the set, So I just keep buying whatever I can in that one in particular. But Squiggles, you cannot go wrong with Squiggles, I would say, right? Like that's the one set that always has the most liquidity out of any art blocks, and it's routinely, I would say, like has the most volume, and is the only collection that has usually daily sales. So if you're looking at art blocks and you're wanting to say, okay, what should I like look at? I would go Squiggles all day long.
I think that the Squiggle is a very, very, very important collection. And yeah, it's great to see trades every day. I think that's the biggest thing, is to just see this stuff trading every single day. $18,000 for one Squiggle. Who NFTs are dead. 18K for one out of 10,000 or so Squiggles. Very impressive.
I don't want
stuff.
one of these.
Me too.
You need to get one. I mean, a few months ago, I think it was actually at the beginning of the year, I just sold off a bunch of art that was like, there were smaller collections, not as well known, and I sold most of them at a loss so that I could buy a Squiggle, just because I was like, and it turned out to be a better move because everything else kept dipping, and then the Squiggles held their value. So yeah.
Well, I sold a high value NFT recently, so I suddenly have an influx of Ethereum in my trading wallet. I just scared the hell out of myself because I pulled up my trading wallet. I saw $1.75 in it. I was like, did my thing just get drained? And it's because I had bridged over to Zora or whatever to buy that Thread Guy open edition. So that's why that was happening. But I was thinking about buying some Utes. I thought that would be an interesting move at this point. The Squiggle is very interesting too. So we'll have to see what I end up going with, what maneuver I end up making. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we got Chris from Iconic Moments for the second time in a few days. What a pleasure. Chris, how's it going, amigo? You're muted. There you go.
No, it's going well. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Incredibly excited about the Jackson Pollock Beyond the Edge drop. We've talked about it a couple of times. I've shared a lot of details with everybody. Just to give everybody a quick refresh before we talk to Chris and dive in, this is a drop that's in partnership with the actual Jackson Pollock studio. We have 4 different editions, 4 unique pieces, 125 editions of each. And that's a physical and a digital. The physical print, 18 inches by 24 inches, hand numbered and stamped by the Jackson Pollock studio. And Chris, you talked about the camera and how, the technology that you used to make this. It sounds like you didn't pinch pennies to make sure that these prints were on point, and, rightfully so, they should be. So what else do people need to know about this drop?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think first you hit the nail on the head. Our partner is the Jackson Pollock Studio and the Jackson Pollock House and Study Center. This is a national landmark. This is where Jackson Pollock and Lee Krasner lived. And the studio is where Jackson Pollock painted all of his most famous masterworks, right? From Autumn Rhythm to Title number 3, number 5, Blue Poles, Convergence. All of this took place in the studio. Billions and billions of dollars worth of artwork was created in this space. And so the ability to partner directly with that studio itself, is so important here across the board. But yeah, the collection is called Beyond the Edge. We're offering 4 perspectives here in Series 1, and 3 of the perspectives actually come from the edges of some of Pollock's greatest works, specifically Convergence, number 3, and Blue Poles. And so it really is sort of a unique opportunity to own both a digital and a physical piece from probably the most important artists of the 20th century, and to be able to bring the most important artists of the 20th century to the blockchain.
I mean, it's incredible. It's important. Ladies and gentlemen, we are with our sponsor, Iconic Moments, discussing the Beyond the Edge Jackson Pollock Studio Collection drop. So the mint date is the day after tomorrow, correct, Chris? The 19th?
Yeah, so the mint day is the 19th. And so the mint will open to our Art Pass community and our Art Pass holders first. So if you want to be able to have priority access to this mint, there's still time to pick up an Art Pass. The snapshot will take tomorrow afternoon before the mint goes live on Wednesday, across the board. And, since we were on the show last week, we've had a couple of exciting announcements come up and some great coverage. Coverage-wise, we were very fortunate to have a great story go up in ArtNet, which is the largest, art publication globally. We're also the subject headline story for the newsletter this weekend of the Jackson Pollock Studio hitting the blockchain and going into the future. And then a part here as well that we think is interesting is, what does the roadmap look like for holding on to a Jackson Pollock Studio NFT? One thing that we've announced is that we'll be bringing the Jackson Pollock Studio into ordinals, because we think for such an important artist, the ability to inscribe this permanently on the blockchain is really important. And this will by far be the most high profile artist studio to come into the ordinals ecosystem. But I think the other thing that we're super excited about is the ability to really show Pollock's influence and his legacy on generative art and digital art, right? Because probably of all traditional artists, it's kind of ironic to call now Pollock a traditional artist, right? He's by far had the greatest influence on generative art through his technique and his style. And so we just announced our first digital collaboration, which will be with Lucrece. Yeah. And I think the ability to bridge these two things together, right? To have Lucrece's work actually be exhibited in the Pollock studio where Pollock created his masterworks is why we started Iconic, right? It's bridging physical and digital together. So the only way you'll be able to get access to these digital collaborations is by holding on to one of these Pollock NFTs.
Well, I mean, it's incredibly cool for you to be, basically making big moves in the traditional art world, because I'm assuming, there's not a line of other brands that the Jackson Pollock Studio is about to work with in digital art. And I can't imagine that the process of, getting a deal like this done was easy. Also incredibly cool to be bringing an NFT native artist, so to speak, a digital artist like Lucrece, to the Jackson Pollock Studio and actually having Lucrece's work on display over there. Very, very cool. So how can people actually get access to this mint? Like how does one buy, Beyond the Edge?
Yeah, absolutely. So the mint will take place through the Iconic Moments platform. You can check out the mint page and the landing experience at pollock.iconicmoments.co. Again, the mint will go live on Wednesday, but we'll have priority access to our Art Pass holders. And so if you want to be able to have that priority access to have a chance to mint here, I would pick up an Art Pass and we'll do a snapshot tomorrow at, I think, 3 p.m. Eastern.
Very cool. And what's the response been to this project, to this collection?
It's, man, it's been awesome. It's kind of blown us away. On the traditional art side, not only have we gotten significant coverage from traditional art publications, but I think it's probably been coverage because I think of the amount of work we put in, right, really to show how to do this the right way with physical and digital. to have the majority of the proceeds go to actually preserving the studio. The coverage has not only been positive about this, but it's been really removed from a lot of the negative attention we've seen the media apply to NFTs. And so we couldn't be happier there. And we're also getting inundated with, we've had some of the top art galleries in the world reach out. We've had so many different organizations all reaching out, trying to get a hold of one of these series or one of these sets that we have available. And on the Web3 side, it's been awesome. I mean, we've seen some of the top collectors in the space pick up a pass. We saw Pranksy pick up a pass this weekend, and a bunch of others. And so, and just a lot of, I think, positive attention. Because again, for us, we want you to feel like there's some true art coming out of this, right? And the ability to have both an NFT that is beautiful, that is an industry first, that will open up all these doors to digital collaborations and ordinals, but also a limited edition hand-numbered print that is embossed, right, from the Jackson Pollock studio that will never be made again. And it's something you can put on your wall and talk about forever.
I mean, it's so cool. And there haven't been opportunities like this in the NFT space. We've seen a little bit of true traditional art world, exposure, like the Damien Hirst drop. But I mean, just the idea of having one of these prints framed on your wall, 18-inch by 24-inch is so cool. And then obviously the corresponding digital asset. Node, obviously you're an advisor with Iconic. What drew you to this collection, and what do you think of, everything that's kind of surrounding it?
Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't really accepted or become an advisor on any project before, just because it's, you get a ton of DMs as all of you will know, right? Like, I'm sure PO and Easy and Signal, like, you get DMs almost daily of like, hey, promote our project and let's talk about it. And none of them I really could believe in until I, met the Iconic guys. And like, they're actually doing real work, trying to work with Web 2, with the traditional art space. And they have like legitimate partnerships in place. And like, even just looking at the Jackson Pollock studio, like, the more that I got to learn about it, like, you're looking at the floor, and the floor, it looks like a Jackson Pollock piece, right? Which is really cool.
Makes sense.
It makes sense, because it's all there. And, I think one of the people that's in charge of the Jackson Pollock studio talked about how, she can't chop up the floor and ship it off to people, right? Like, she can't really display it or exhibit it in other places as it stands, because it's just the floor, right? Like, she can't really move it around. And so what Iconic is doing is really kind of enabling the floor to turn into its own piece of art.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome. And everybody gets to decide how they want to value a piece of the floor, right? But this is a real thing that these guys are doing, and they've done it the right way. And I think they've put a lot of thought into it as well. So I really love it because, yeah, you look at one of those prints and they look awesome. They look just like a Jackson Pollock piece. And they're doing it the right way by having just 125 editions of each. There's not too many. Is important to note that just because you own an art pass, it's not a guarantee, right, that you can buy. There's less pieces available than there are art passes. So there is some scarcity there. But look, that ArtNet article is extremely positive. If you read it, like, they're stoked. There's not a single negative thing about it. Like, they don't rip on NFTs, which I think is awesome. So I just love what they're doing. And I think this is going to open up the door for them to work with, other estates and other museums and things like that. So for me, I'm just excited to be part of this project for sure. So
awesome. And in the ArtNet article, I'm glad you brought it up again, because I meant to ask, do they refer to this as an NFT in that article?
They do. Yeah, they do, right there in the headline, actually. And so they talk about, I think they not only do they refer to it as an NFT, though, they do a really good job of highlighting, I think, the history of the Pollock studio, talking about why, right? Like, there's always this question when you're dealing with traditional art, like, why should you do this? What makes this unique? And I think that this is a lot different than taking, we've seen traditional art collections hit the NFT space before from art that was created hundreds of years ago. And you're like, well, it's just a recreation. Why should you do that, right? Here, this really is a unique, again, to Node's point, you can't take the floor with you. It hasn't been displayed before. And it's an amalgamation of all of Pollock's works. It's probably the most important and unique artifact in the entire world. And, I thought it was And you know, it really shows. I mean, this floor has been studied to really understand Pollock's technique. I mean, this floor was used to figure out that Pollock painted in fractals, right? Which is now considered one of the reasons why Pollock's work is so impactful. Physicists came out from USC to study this, to figure out the velocity in which Pollock actually painted. And color analysis, I mean, it really is just a beautiful and stunning thing to see. And so we're excited here to be able to present that. I mean, we took over, I think, 800 photos and used AI to stitch this together. It represents over 800 gigabytes, the entire file. So it's a little nuts.
That's a big file.
It is. Yeah, we pretty much broke the graphic cards on every computer in the office, I'll say.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, go to the nifty.com/claim, put in the password abstract45. That's the free NFT that we're dropping today. Abstract45 is the password at the nifty.com/claim. You'll see Buddy, our character from the Bodagos collection, as Jackson Pollock. Clemente, if you want to pull it up real quick, the thing I like about it is I feel like our artist captured Pollock's expression with Buddy's eyes, because Buddy looks like he doesn't want to be bothered. And I feel like when you look at pictures of Jackson Pollock, that's what Jackson Pollock looked like. But anyway, this Beyond the Edge Jackson Pollock Studio Collection drop is minting the day after tomorrow. To get exposure, you need the Iconic Moments Art Pass, which is available on OpenSea right now on the secondary market. Keep in mind, there are fewer Pollock Beyond the Edge pieces than Iconic Art Passes, as Node pointed out. So it's not a one-for-one guarantee. But Chris, this is what people have to do to get exposure to this, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, you'll notice that we update
You
each
Pollocked
art
it.
pass. We
metadata.
Pollocked it. Yeah, for every upcoming release, we end up changing the art and the art pass to reflect that upcoming release. So this is the way to be able to gain access to have a chance to mint. And I think other things to note, right, is again, after this release, we will be having ordinals and then digital collaboration starting with Luke Crease. And then, you know, we have some incredible artists and cultural institutions lined up coming in the coming months that we cannot wait to share, including another one of America's most iconic artists.
Oh man. Okay. So that sounds juicy. I'm assuming you can't disclose who yet, right, Chris?
What is it?
You can't disclose who yet, right?
We cannot disclose who yet.
I get it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, check out the Iconic Moments Art Pass. Check out the Beyond the Edge Jackson Pollock Studio Collection drop. Clemente's got tweets pinned that have all the links that you need. Chris, anything else that people should know about this drop before we wrap?
I think, you know, the biggest thing for anyone to note, right, is scarcity here real, right? These NFTs will never be made again. These prints will never be made again. You know, once the prints are printed, the file and the plates that the prints are created on will be destroyed, right? I mean, the files will be held privately in a vault, but you know, this really is a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to own, you know, a unique collection from one of the most important artists, if not the most important artist of the 20th century. So yeah, we're excited, and we think for the art community and our holders at an Art Pass, it's a very exciting offer.
It's very exciting. This is the stuff that's going to, over time, gradually push NFTs forward, because you got the traditional art world actually respecting the NFT space. An article on ArtNet is no joke. That is one of the, biggest art publications, if not the biggest art publication online. So really, really cool stuff. Well, thanks, Chris, for coming again. Shout out to Iconic Moments again for sponsoring the show. Check out the pinned tweets, all the links to all things Iconic Moments and the Beyond the Edge Jackson Pollock Studio Collection are there. Nick, did you want to throw something in before we wrap?
Yeah, just shout out to Tofu for winning.
Yeah.
If you're interested in winning some of the giveaways, the best path is definitely getting into Bodagos or a portal and hopping in our Discord, because we dropped the password there first. And so in this case, someone in the community ended up winning. So shout out to Tofu on winning today's giveaway and getting one of these NFTs, which I'm freaking jealous of.
Yeah, I mean, I said it too. I can't win this giveaway, obviously, even though I wanted to. Shout out to Tofu. Couldn't have asked for a better winner. It's funny how the universe works that way, that when somebody is a kick-ass person, they end up, winning a high-value giveaway like this. Like I said, maybe the coolest giveaway we've ever had on this show. There's the golden ticket right there. Anyway, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. We do this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time. Each and every week, we discuss all things NFTs, technology, entertainment, gaming, art, and just about everything in between. Subscribe on YouTube if you want to actually see the video that corresponds with this audio podcast, see our beautiful faces as we run through these discussions. If you want to share the podcast with people outside the Twitter bubble, check out Apple and Spotify podcasts for the podcast. All the links are available on the NFT Morning Show account, which is the host of this Twitter space. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Big shout out to Iconic Moments and Chris and Node and the whole team over there for the Beyond the Edge Jackson Pollock Studio Collection drop for sponsoring today's show and a show last week. Can't wait to see how this plays out. Going to be fascinating to see it trade on the secondary. Shout out to Tofu for winning the free NFT and print 18-inch by 24-inch hand numbered and stamped by the Jackson Pollock Studio. That's a hell of a print. Hope you got a good framer, Tofu, and hope everybody is making plans with their local framing company that's going to mint the Beyond the Edge collection. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everyone.